All right. We're going live in a minute. Here we go. Welcome everybody to the Pisces stream. All right. I'm going to give it a minute and let people join the room. This is the last live stream for the weeklies for this week. All right. And we are going to do Pisces. My lovely, lovely Pisces. Also, great supporters from the beginning of my channel have been Pisces, and I really appreciate that support. So let's go ahead. I'm going to put up my links. I'll put them up into the chat once towards the end. And so, of course, we're going to be doing the weeklies. For those of you who are new to my channel, we're going to pull out three weekly romance angel messages, and then we'll pull out three of the animal spirits for you this week, and then we'll go into the 3 card forecasts for this week. All right, Pisces. All right, let's get started. I hope you're doing well so far this October. All right, here we go. First out, we have romantic feelings. Beautiful. Your feelings are real and worth exploring. All right. We have true love. This is the romance of a lifetime. And we have past life relationships. You have known each other before. Now, I am Sagittarius myself, but sometimes I resonate with Pisces readings because my Mars is in Pisces, right? And so Mars is a heavy aspect, right? It's a strong influence on your chart and how you go through life, right? And so with the Mars in Pisces, I certainly resonate with a lot of Piscean energy. And so it's good for you guys also to check your natal charts and look at other readings. Because my Mars is in Pisces, sometimes readings for Mars can impact that sort of side of my life. That house, depending on the house that I'm currently in, etc., etc., or that my Mars is currently in, etc. I'm not an astrologer for that. You have to go to other channels. Fernando Prodholm is my favorite. Yes, so definitely check the rest of your chart, Pisces, and see where your Mars is placed, your moon placement, your rising, and your Venus, and that will also help you to find readings that resonate with what you're going through. All right, guys? So let's get right into your animal spirits for this month. We're going to see what kind of animal spirits you're walking with, right? We have the crow. There we go. Highest card for potential magic is, of course, a totem in the occult, a totem for occult belief systems worldwide. Harbinger of messages, right? The crow brings messages, but it brings messages certainly from the supernatural, from the divine, the spirit world. Lizard energy, fiery. So we have crow, which is air, and we have a fire element here. Interesting, the lizard is very, very hyper aware, and it really indicates extrasensory perception here with the lizard. And then we have the frog, a regular player of my readings. Those of you who are subscribers or you watch my channel, you know that the frog shows up quite a lot, and this is water energy. And of course, the frog is a great purifier, cleanser. He brings cleansing waters with him and sort of helps to sort of clear out the old, refresh, rejuvenate. The frog comes in to rejuvenate emotions and feelings. But let's start off with the first one. We'll get right into them before we go into your spreads. The crow is the harbinger of messages from the supernatural, from the spirit world, right? It is a totem in the occult for being able to see everything, having very, very keen insight into the heart of a situation, being able to see things that others can't see, energies that others can't see. And when I talk about energies that others can't see, I'm talking about being able to see or intuit a situation and know what's really going on. I'm not talking about, like seeing energy like trails, like you do when you're tripping or something. I'm talking about understanding the energies and the motivations, the feelings that are going on in an exchange between people or in a scenario that you're witnessing, and really and understanding what's really going on there, right? This is the type of thing that the crow has a keen insight into, and this is what we talk about when we talk about seeing energies in a situation, right? It's also the harbinger of messages coming in. So it can be that right now, for those of you who are in that realm, in that field, you may be a tarot reader, you may be a crystal healer or Reiki master, you may practice witchcraft, you may be a shaman, you may be a guru, a yogi, whatever the case may be, whatever it is, uh, there are messages coming in through that realm for you, messages that you need to hear, understandings, perhaps solutions to a situation, right? But some kind of message, and certainly of empowerment and positivity. We're talking about all kinds of things that are only positive, and certainly the crow is air element. So of course we're talking about messages that expand the mind, expand our understanding, right? Now we have the lizard, and the lizard talks about, it is a fire elemental spirit, and we're talking about extrasensory perception. The lizard's sensors, right? Senses, I want to say, instincts even, are so highly attuned that it is almost a clairvoyance there. They can almost see something right before it happens, or just as it's happening, right? I mean, if you, for those physicists out there, we're talking about, the closer you get to the speed of light, time begins to disappear, right? And so, do you, is it that he's clairvoyant, or is it that he's just so attuned to the situation that any little fluctuations or changes, he is able to perceive them? And so lizard energy can also run very hot, Pisces. It can get extremely hot with lizard energy, and you can become overstimulated, oversensitized, right? And when this happens, it's time to step back from the world and cool down. It's time. You've been running too hot, you've been going too fast, right? And that's just sort of an extreme side that can be if you're resonating with lizard energy, right? It's a very fiery kind of energy, right? We're not talking about an emotional sort of understanding here. We're talking about just an intuitive feeling, a knowingness, right? That's what fire and intuition is all about. And so here we go with that in terms of, you may be also dealing with somebody who's coming that in, and you may also be dealing with a situation that is calling for you to be not sensitive, but hyper aware, to be ready to soak up all that is going on around you. Remember, the crow is also watching, but just not to get too overwhelmed or too oversensitized. Frog comes in as a water elemental. The frog purifies and cleanses, cools down. And so for some of you who are maybe running hot, or you may be dealing with people who are running hot, you may be resonating with frog energy, Pisces. This is the water element spirit. So you may be bringing the cool range. You may be dealing with a lizard in your life, and you're the one who has to always cool them down. Or right now, you're being called upon to cool them down. It could be indeed that you have met a love connection, and their fieriness is a great sort of compatible connection with you, and your sort of like coolness, right? That you bring, certainly with the water. Oftentimes people say fire and water signs don't mix, but again, we're talking about, when we talk about astrology, you have to take a look at the entire chart, and simply to go by the sun sign I don't even know what to say. It's ridiculous. It's like reading a comic strip. You can't really pay any attention to that. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and get right into your 3-card spreads for the week. We are going to pull out anywhere from 5 to 8 3-card spreads. And next week, I'm going to try to stream this on Saturday. I'm going to try to stream all 12 weekly signs on the Saturday before. So on the Saturday, because the sign reading starts for today and onwards. So Stay tuned for that. You have to hit the notification and then you'll get notified on that. All right, Pisces, so let's get right into pulling out your first forecast. We have Ace of Wands, Death card, and we have the Empress. And so we're talking about, wow, new inspiration coming in. Sure, a message coming in, right? Certainly, like I said, with the crow, it's the harbinger of messages, new understandings. But here also, we're talking about absolute inspiration. Ace of Wands is also the great phallic symbol in the deck. And so this can really indicate a passionate connection with someone, a love affair, certainly with romantic feelings and true love. You may indeed be starting a very hot and heavy relationship with somebody, Pisces, right? But death is coming in and transformation is coming in. And it's quite interesting. This new sort of either relationship or this new endeavor is coming into you at a time in your life where a lot of change is happening already, right? If it hasn't happened just this recently, it's going to happen fairly soon. Excuse the background noise. Um, and so transformation is coming in for some of you, especially on the heels of this wands, this Ace of Wands, this new relationship or this new endeavor that you're starting. And it's interesting because you're coming out of this transformation feeling beautiful, feeling healthy. It could be that some of you are dealing with something right now, maybe to do with your health, right? Or you may have something, and death, and I don't mean this to say death does not mean death. It doesn't ever mean death, but I just say health because of the Empress. You come out of whatever transformation this is, whatever change that happens in your life, right? You come out of this feeling very, very good, feeling refreshed, feeling nourished, feeling beautiful. Again, it could be that you have been in a period of sort of maybe a lot of struggle, a lot of strife, a lot of anxiety, perhaps, right? Whatever the case may be, this is all changing and transforming. And this new endeavor, this new relationship is getting swept right up with this new transformation. It's almost as if it comes in right at the perfect time because your new life is ready and waiting for a good connection, is ready and waiting certainly for a beautiful, creative outlet. And of course, Empress is one of the high cards for creativity. There's your Temperance, Six of Wands, and we have the Lover's Cup. So some of you this week are really indeed being asked to exercise a lot of temperance with your partner. It could be that you're just exercising temperance in your life in general, right? And so temperance talks about not reacting, not letting people push your buttons, having control over your own actions and emotions and understandings, right? And not being sort of a slave to other people's manipulations, right? And so you're staying very cool and calm and collected this week, and a victory comes in the face of whatever it is that you've been dealing with. You may have been dealing with, indeed, some power struggles recently. You may have been dealing with the Five of Wands scenario, which is a competitive power struggle for the affections of someone, but you've really kept your head. You haven't really succumbed to any kind of toxic behavior or immature behavior. And it's quite interesting, Pisces, for you, for some of you, this really cool cucumber attitude that you've been holding on to, this sort of temperance that you've been holding on to, makes way for a victory in love, and you get your soulmate connection. You get your past life relationship connection, certainly here with the Lover's card. Of course, this is Sagittarius and Gemini energy, but that's just the signs that those cards are associated with. Knight of Cups, Star, and the Moon. A lot of major arcana for you this week, Pisces. Knight of Cups, of course, talks about someone coming in, wanting the desire to make a connection with someone in particular, and making the effort to do so, right? So someone is coming in, they want to offer you this cup of love, right? They're making actions to sort of say, hey, I want to show you how I feel. I want to express my feelings to you. It could be that you're coming into someone else, but for some of you, this is very romantic, right? Um, It's almost as if, they're coming into you, Pisces. This is you showing up. The moon is the card for Pisces. So you're showing up. A star is the card for Aquarius, right? Some of you may be dealing with Aquarius. Again, this is not, it's just saying what's associated with the cards. We don't know their natal chart, Pisces, okay? But some of you, this night coming in has really been what you've been wanting, has really been what you've been trying to manifest in your life with the star. This is a real answer to sort of your dreams and wishes. However, there is a feeling of uncertainty with the moon. There's a feeling of, is this real? Is this really what I've been looking for? Is this the true love I've been waiting for? You're still not really sure about it. There still may be some feelings that are hitting. This seems all very fresh and new, Pisces, but this is certainly, for some of you who are resonating with this major arcana placement indicates that this connection that you're having with this Knight of Cups is indeed a very special connection. Certainly that moon energy will be revealed, but that's just you anyway, Pisces, right? Three of Wands, Page of Pentacles, and Two of Swords. So some of you are being asked to be very patient. Three of Wands is the card for this week. It's one of the cards that's been showing up for a lot of the readings, all right? And so we're talking about patience, being forced to be patient, right? Being forced to maybe stop for a minute instead of moving forward. You may have been doing too much, Pisces, with this lizard energy. You may have been doing too much. It's time to slow down. You're oversensitized. You're overworked. You're exhausted. Because lizard energy, when that becomes too much and gets chaotic, it can be very tiring. It can be exhausting, actually, right? And so you're being forced to slow down and stop so that you don't start to make any wrong moves. It could be in a relationship as well. Some of you may be moving too fast in a relationship. But in any case, whatever the case may be, this is generally going to be having to be patient in an endeavor that is really close to your heart. And so what happens is a new opportunity comes in. And it's quite good that you were patient. It could be at work. Some of you, this could also be in a business situation, a career situation, right? In terms of being forced to wait and be patient before you make any more moves. And because things aren't aligned right in a way for you to make your next step, right? You're kind of blocked in some way. And what happens while you're standing still and while you're taking a moment to just take a look at the lay of the land because you have to and you need to, another opportunity comes in. A very seemingly innocent opportunity comes in. I want to say this could just be a chance meeting, a chance conversation. It could be a written sort of communication that comes in, a letter or an email, something maybe that you read online. Something comes in and as a new sort of option, right? A new option. And you find yourself in the land of indecision in the sense that you all of a sudden feel like you have to make a choice between one or the other. You're like, oh shit, I have to make a choice between one or the other. Now, in this case, I'm going to say here, this is probably going to be about an issue, certainly about your career, or about a creative endeavor that you're in, or a particular path that you're on. If you're an artist, you may be opening up a gallery, and suddenly now this opportunity here comes in to do something completely different, and you're like, shit, I still want to open my gallery. I'm stalled right now, but I still want to complete this, but now I want to take this opportunity too. Well, Two of Swords indicates oftentimes the feeling that you have to make a choice but being unable to. And so the essence of Two of Swords is really that you have to find a balance, Pisces, right? When you are caught between two seemingly indistinguishable choices, you can't choose one over the other. You really want both. You need both. You want to achieve both. Then you're just going to have to find a way to balance the workload or balance what you need to do for each thing without cutting off the other. You can do that. That is possible. And in most things in life, it is always about a balance, right? And certainly if you just can't decide between one or the other, if choosing one or the other is really such a great risk or such a detriment or such a heartache for you to let go of, there's no need for you to have to choose. You can find a balance. There's your Four of Cups. This is another card that keeps coming up for the readings this week. King of Pentacles, and Justice. So Four of Cups talks about people coming in. This has happened for at least 4 or 5 of the readings this week. The Four of Cups has showed up, and for a lot of you, you have relationships, perhaps an ex-lover coming in or a new person coming in trying to offer you a cup of love, but they're coming in a very haphazard way. You're just not there for it. You're not really ready to accept that cup of love because it doesn't seem like it's very stable. It doesn't seem like they mean it, or it doesn't seem like what they have to offer you is really what you want right now, and you're strong enough to say no. I've already done so much work to achieve the stability in my emotional state and emotional life that I don't need you coming in with this kind of wishy-washy empty cup out of nowhere, right? Without any sort of promise of what is coming with that. What am I supposed to expect with that? Am I supposed to expect trust and understanding with this cup? Or am I, should I expect a bad attitude and abusive behavior coming with this cup? Like, what comes with this cup? And I need for you to show me and prove to me. This is my show and prove card. So for some of you, you're at that stage right now where you're feeling like that. You want to maintain a stability that you have already achieved on your own. And King of Pentacles comes in, right? King of Pentacles talks about really sort of like working and mastering sort of your career path, right? Being on top, being in charge of your life in terms of your career or what you're doing for money, what you're doing to support yourself, to, exist. What is your status, your financial abundance level, how much you can do with your life. And right now, you are very much like wanting to be in charge of that, wanting to focus your intention on that. Some of you may be running businesses right now, right? And you're just not ready to sort of take any focus away from this path of your life that where you have a lot of responsibilities. Some of you may have responsibilities for a lot of staff or what have you, right? Or you just may have responsibilities to people who have invested in you, right? And believed in you. And you're just not willing to divert any of that energy over here. Some of you are certainly waiting for some kind of decision to happen also. Justice is coming in. Some of you are saying that you're waiting for this ruling to come in. It could very well be that this person who keeps offering you a cup of love may be married. They may be involved somewhere else, and you're saying, no, I'm not going to deal with you until you handle that officially. You either get divorced or leave or whatever you have to do, and I want it to be official before I turn my gaze back on you. Some of you are indeed waiting for a decision to come through that just simply impacts your life before you're willing to take the offer of love. Judgment, Hermit, and the Fool. All right, this is going to be the last reading, I believe. So, Judgment comes in, Pisces. Judgment is beautiful, really, really beautiful energy. Judgment comes in when we begin to understand to look at a situation from different sides other than our own. We begin to understand that there's always more stories to tell. Your story isn't the only story, and sometimes we judge people based on our own sort of interpretation of the way things went. And so judgment comes in, for instance, if you have been very harsh on a particular issue or a particular event that happened in your life with friends or family, right? And it's happened in the past, but most recently you've had some experiences, right, that have softened sort of your judgmentality in that area, maybe has gotten you to look at scenarios a little bit differently because up until now you didn't have this experience. And so now you begin to go back and really look back on some of the other issues in your life. You begin to sort of let go of the judgment that you put on them, and perhaps some of the self-judgment as well. Forgiveness begins at home. And so releasing yourself, having compassion for yourself for times that you may have made the wrong move, or times in your life where you may not have been so proud of what you've done, or it may even be completely misplaced guilt. You may think that you did something, feel guilty for something you have no reason to feel guilty for. Whatever the case may be, this is all associated with the Judgment card in the sense that you are letting go of that, right? You're letting go of judgment. And so for some of you, this energy is coming in And Hermit is here too. It can also be that you are have been or about to embark on a real sort of journey of the soul, journey of the spirit, right? You're doing a lot of shadow work. It could be that a most recent event that really changed the way you think about things has suddenly spurred you into a very different life for yourself. This can be, for instance, if you've had like a, say for instance, here's a really broad example. Say, for instance, you are a real stickler about drinking and driving, and we all are. We hate drinking and driving, right? But say, for instance, you were real hard ass about it in the sense that whenever you saw anybody drinking at all at a party, you were the first one to kind of jump down their throat, blah blah blah, right? And then something happens, right? Something happens to you where you know, something very either traumatic or something really impactful happens to you, and a person that you have been judging in this way ended up being the one who saved your life, or ended up, if it wasn't for their actions, something really horrible would have happened. Or maybe you got into an accident on a road and it turns out that the guy who had the drink was the one who saved everybody. Whatever, I'm just pulling this out of the sky, right? So this is a situation that is an example of how a life event can change your judgment about things, right? But here we have this happening, Pisces, but it's happened in such an impactful way that you really decide to go right down a completely different road in your life. Some of you may even may move jobs, change jobs, move cities, quit your job, become, you know, somebody completely different, and decide to embark on this path of really studying yourself, your own spirituality, and following a path of sort of attaining spiritual wisdom. And this is what we see with the Hermit. And this is a new beginning for some of you with the Fool. This is a real beginning for some of you in terms of a stage and a path. This is not just something that you have decided on a whim. For some of you, this was a very fated scenario that came in, whatever happened here. This was almost this felt like a very destined sort of event. And this move and this shift into a more spiritual sort of path in your life, and really embracing that path as a new stage in your life here with the Fool, seems very, very much like it was something that was meant to happen to you right now at this time in your life. Okay, so it's a very fated feeling. And this week you're going to have a lot of this energy coming in for you. This could be crow energy coming in. What I said earlier, the crow brings magic, brings messages from the spirit world, is the harbinger of messages, and magic is a totem in the occult. And so it's an awakening to that side of ourselves that the crow brings as well. And it could very well be that for some of you Pisces, this is what's happened here with this Judgment and Hermit and Fool. All right, very, very powerful cards. We have 3 major arcana cards here, right? So we're talking about a very, very distinct sort of shift in your life for some of you, right? All right, Pisces, this is it. I'm going to call it. This is your October 13th to the 19th weekly reading. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter now at Bow and Arrow Tarot or Bow Arrow Tarot. You'll be able to tell because my logo is the same on all my social media, but all of those media platforms are uploaded with notifications about videos. So if you join me on those platforms, you don't always have to be on YouTube to get notifications. If you enjoyed this video, if it resonated with you, please help me grow my channel by subscribing or liking the video or sharing the video on your social media with your friends and family, with fellow Pisceans. But for right now, guys, I'm just going to say thank you so much, Pisces, for stopping by. You are one of my favorite signs, truly, and I do love you very much. So have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week for next week's weeklies. Bye-bye.